2 investigations from the case files of Lieutenant Joe Kenda.
Oh my God!
A chance encounter ends with an active duty soldier dead in the street.
He was actually running from his assailant.
To bring the man justice, detectives must rely on a bizarre clue.
They dropped this.
It says breakdancing contest 1984. Well now.
Then, a hailstorm of bullets rains down on a welcome home party.
Don't you down on me?
My brother was shot. It was very scary.
It's up to Kenda to determine which of the guests had it in for the host.
Richard was trying to do the right thing, coming to the defense of his cousin.
A strong resemblance?
That's him.
You can run, but you're gonna have to answer for this. No one deserves to die at someone's hand. Nobody gets to play God. Nobody gets to do that.
It's 1:30 in the morning. Jackie Waldo was manning the drive-up window at this fast food restaurant.
Can I take your order, please?
Yeah, can I get an order of fries?
Okay,
fries.
fries. You want small, medium, or large?
Yeah, can we get 5 large?
Okay, 5 orders of super fries.
The bars are just closing and people want to stop and get something to eat.
Drive up to the window, please. Can I take your order?
Yo, what is that guy's problem? What the hell?
Hello, is everything all right?
That's it!
She realized that there's a brawl going on out here.
Hey, you can't do that here! You need to get out of here!
Messed up now!
She's probably thinking, oh, great. You know, it's just some more unruly people coming through and nothing that she hasn't seen or dealt with before.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Well, when Jackie is able to see what's going on, she sees someone lying on the pavement, basically bleeding to death.
Jack! Jack!
Oh my God, help!
Not far away, Lieutenant Joe Kenda is on his way home after an exhausting day on the job.
You begin to believe that, well, maybe we've finally put everyone to rest. Maybe now everybody's satisfied. They've stabbed enough people. They've shot enough people. Maybe they're just going to go to bed. You start to go home and the radio cracks.
Dispatch to 4 Paul 1.
Go for 4 Paul 1.
Have a report of a stabbing at 375 Academy Boulevard.
10-4, I'll be there in less than 10 minutes.
So maybe they're not done for the day yet. Let's go over there and see what's going on.
Hey, Sarge.
So we got?
We got a stabbing. Victim is Jack Martinez, 29, pronounced DOA at the hospital.
Well, someone heck of a knife fight.
It is rare to have a stabbing result in a dead on arrival. They had to hit something very vital.
Unfortunately, when we got here, it was a ghost town. Just the drive-through cashier, which really didn't see anything. One other person. Victim was actually with another guy during the fight. He got roughed up a bit, so we sent him out of the hospital.
When the police arrive, red lights and siren, everybody runs. They want no part of this. Whether they were involved in it or not, everybody split like a covey of quail.
All right, let's make sure the witnesses don't disappear. You want to point me to where the body was at?
You're gonna love this.
Is that what I think it is?
That's Davidson. It's his 3rd day, first homicide.
The body's now gone, but there's a chalk outline drawn on the pavement where he'd been laying.
Just call him over.
Davidson.
It's your first homicide?
Yes, sir.
As a young officer, so I thought you're supposed to do, no, we're not supposed to do that. They do that in the movies, and they did it in the 1930s, but that was a long time ago. We use photography, measurements, and that sort of thing, so you don't need that.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
I ain't got in any trouble. You just might want to skip that next time to avoid some grief.
Yes, sir.
You don't yell at them. You just tell them the reality is we don't put the chalk outline around the body. So just keep that in mind.
Now, let me see what we got here.
There are broken beer bottles and rocks and all sorts of things laying all over the place. Obviously, the remains of a large fight.
where the witnesses at?
We've got them waiting over here.
Why don't you try the drive-through cashier? I'll see what the bystander has to say.
Yes, sir.
He was a 20-year-old young man by the name of Matty Marr, who just happened to be walking home from work when this altercation takes place in the parking lot.
You told the officers you saw what happened?
Yeah, it was really weird. They were all in this black Jeep. There was a car right behind them, and they were just honking and honking. That's when we look in that direction. And then all of a sudden, these guys get out of the Jeep, and they just went off on them. It was kind of surreal.
Surreal how?
And they're all wearing the same exact thing.
One thing he vividly remembers is a group of Mexican males, and the way he remembers them specifically is that they were all dressed identically. They had black shirts on and white pants, and you're thinking, okay, are they dressed in costume?
Is this a group of guys from a band at a nightclub, or, why are they all dressed the same?
You think you could identify these guys in a lineup?
I don't know. After that dude got stabbed, they all took off quickly. But they dropped this.
Now, what's that? He pulls out a blue ribbon, and it says, State of Colorado Breakdancing Contest Finalist, 1984. Well, now, here's our matching outfits. They are dancers.
Oh, this is very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
It's always embarrassing when you watch criminals act and engage in crime that they're so disconnected, so disoriented, and so stupid that it's almost the same thing as dropping their driver's license at the crime scene. We're not going to go to a ballroom dancing group. We're going to go find the breakdancers. We're investigating the death of Jack Martinez, killed during a fight in a fast food restaurant at 1:30 in the morning. One foot in front of the other leads us to a breakdancing group.
Well, this was 1984, and back then breakdancing was very popular. It was something that everybody was doing. So these competitions would come to town, and a lot of people would participate.
Before following up on this lead, Kenda needs to learn more about the victim.
Where are these wounds and what did they do? So we do go to the autopsy.
Hey, Doc.
Oh, hey, Sergeant. How are you?
Good. Have you made any determination on Jack Martinez?
Yes, just getting started on that. Saw several stab wounds, looked pretty deep. If I were guessing, I'd say one of those stab wounds punctured his aorta.
He bled to death in less than a minute. He was dead before the ambulance got there.
Also noticed contusions around his face and on his hands. Looked like he was in quite a brawl. Here's the personal effects. It's not much.
Check this out.
Jack Martinez has cash on his person, not a great deal, but he does have money, 20-some-odd dollars. This isn't robbery, this is a confrontation. It's a fight.
There was a military ID card, which indicated that he was a soldier, possibly stationed out at Fort Carson.
Why don't you go ahead and take this down to the station? I'm gonna go see if they're ready to release this guy's buddy.
Will do.
This person was identified as a 23-year-old Jeffrey Nostrom, who was also a soldier out at Fort Carson and was very good friends with our victim, Jack Martinez.
I give you guys a minute.
Jeffrey, I'm Sergeant Kenda.
Jack didn't deserve this.
He says, besides being a soldier, Jack comes from a very large, loving family. Here you have a son who's serving his country in the military. And what happens, he gets attacked in the parking lot of a fast food restaurant in a relatively safe community.
We were just having a good time until all this went down.
Can you tell me how you got to the drive-thru?
They decide that the bars are about to close and that they're hungry, and they go to the fast food outlet, the nearest place that's open that serves food.
What the hell? How long does it take these guys to order? I mean, honestly, this is a fast food place.
Settle down, man. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, I'm starving, and they are taking all night, so... Let's go! Come on!
So he just reached over and honked, that's it?
Yeah, I mean, he was being a little rude, whatever.
But after that, they went crazy.
Honestly, this is gonna take absolutely forever. All right, you know what? So, come on! Yo, what's up?
Some of them jump on their car, they're pounding it, and it's like all this melee starts all of a sudden.
Like they just ran at us like they wanted to fight, you know? And
That's how you got that.
yeah, and he messed up my car too. Like, just because somebody honked,
Did you get a look at him?
I guess. Like they were all Hispanic. They had on white pants and black shirt. It's like they were all waiters or on a team or something, you know?
That's consistent with what the other witnesses are saying. All right, well, I'll be in touch. I'm sorry about your friend.
Early the next morning, Kenda rejoins his colleague, Detective Jones, to follow up with the site of the dance competition.
CSPD, we're looking for the organizer of this event.
Yeah, these guys are like, hey, Em.
Hi, can I help you?
And we meet a woman named Emily Moffat who reports that she was the manager of the competition.
It seems that 4 of the winners of your competition were involved in an incident that we're investigating. We believe they're finalists.
That's just a participation prize. Well, 19X got that.
Would you be able to identify them based on the costumes they had on?
There was a news crew here that taped the entire thing.
She did say, well, wait a minute, though. We do have some news footage. We could take a look at that and maybe help you find these 4 individuals that you're looking for.
Steve, do you have that tape the news crew gave us?
Yeah, I'm fired up.
In the back room of the city auditorium, they had the equipment necessary to play the tape. We started looking at the different contestants, checking for that outfit.
Well, that's not them. They don't fit the description. They were looking for black shirts and white pants.
Wait, that could be them.
Number 7? That's the Robotronic Playboys.
I'm sorry?
That's what they call themselves.
They call themselves the Robotronic Playboys, which I guess if you're 16, that sounds like a great name. And this woman says, I have a list that has all of the names of that group. Now that would be delightful. We've managed to narrow this down very quickly indeed, down to a small group of kids with a stupid name for a dance group, one of whom happens to be a killer. We're investigating the death of Jack Martinez, killed during a fight in a fast food restaurant at 1:30 in the morning. One foot in front of the other leads us to a breakdancing group.
They indicated that these 4 people were identified as Peter Chavez, Alan Cortez, Rob, and Michael Martinez.
You wouldn't happen to have their addresses or phone numbers, would you?
Most of our dance crews parked in our lot. In order to do that, they had to give us license plate numbers.
Well, we'd love to see those receipts.
Excuse me.
She finds a parking receipt for a black Jeep with the name Hector Garcia attached to it.
That was a gold mine. We could run that registration and find out who that vehicle belongs to and where that person lives.
All right, thank you very much.
Armed with the names of the dance team members and the registration of the car they arrived in, Kenda returns to the station.
Hey, Sarge. Ran all those names. Seems like none of them have any kind of a record.
What about the car? Did you run those tags?
Here's the address. Based on those plates, it's like you thought. The owner is Hector Garcia. He's up in Denver.
All right, thank you.
This is something that if the roles were reversed and Denver was looking for somebody in Colorado Springs, they could call us.
We contact Detective Roland, Denver PD. Could he send an officer by at our request to determine if a black Jeep is parked in front of this address?
But when Denver police arrive at the address, there's no sign of the vehicle.
And nobody answered the doorbell. So they decided, well, you know what? We're going to set up a surveillance on this residence and see if the person in that black Jeep returns home in the next hour or so.
Nothing yet, guys. Still on hold.
And that's exactly what happened.
Gentlemen, I have a visual. This This looks like our guy. Go, go, go.
Let me see your hands.
You Hector Garcia?
Yes.
I'd like to ask you some questions in connection with an investigation being run out of Colorado Springs.
Yes, I know.
Oh, you know. Is this because you're involved in this stabbing?
Bring him over here. We have a search warrant to search your vehicle. Search your vehicle, please.
We believe we were in the right church and we just found the right pew. They find a switchblade knife. It's a killing knife. It has no other purpose.
We've got Hector Garcia in custody now. We're going to talk to him as quickly as we can. He's going to be the conduit to get us to these other 4 suspects that we're looking for.
Mr. Garcia, we don't have a lot of time. I don't think you had anything to do with the killing, but I'm pretty sure you know who did.
They started it.
Excuse me?
The dudes in the car behind us.
It does not matter who started what in terms of the event when there's a death involved. Starting a fight should not be accompanied by a death penalty.
The guys were just complete assholes, so the crew went to take care of it. But I know what happened was wrong, and Peter went too far.
Hector said the knife was all Peter Chavez, not me.
Yo, man, is that blood? Why the hell did you have to stab him?
I didn't even know he put the knife in my car.
All right, I believe you. But the DA isn't as open-minded as I am. He might decide to go a little lighter on you, though, if you help us find your friends, especially Peter.
Okay, yeah, I'll help you guys.
With Hector Garcia's cooperation and the assistance of the Denver PD, all the dance team members are located. All, that is, except for one.
The only one that was not brought in was Peter Chavez.
We obtain an arrest warrant for Peter Chavez. We go to serve it in Denver where he lives. We have Denver PD with us for jurisdiction.
Yes?
Is this the home of Peter Chavez?
Yes, it is. What is this about?
His mother answers the door.
Here she had sent her son off to do something he loved. The last thing she ever expected was that he would be questioned by police for a murder.
Sorry, ma'am, there's one more thing. We've got a warrant to search the premises for evidence.
Good Lord.
She is very cooperative, and she remains seated in the living room while we conduct the search.
Is Peter's room down the hall?
Yes, down the hall to the left.
Ma'am, I can't stress this enough. When Peter reaches out to you, and he will, you need to convince him to turn himself in. You don't want us to come looking for him.
I understand.
Detective.
Hector said he wiped the blade on his pants, and there's blood on those pants.
Go ahead and bag him.
That's the final piece of evidence to secure Peter Chavez's conviction for this crime.
We'll be in touch.
Peter Chavez, we're not going to stop until we find him. We are not going to stop.
You're going to put extra police officers on the case to help track down leads of where his associates may be, where his friends may be. All stops are out.
Thanks. Let me know if you hear anything.
All right, so we've talked to most of the performers from that night. Those who know Chavez don't know where he may be.
All right, thanks. Let's keep plugging away, though.
Officer.
Sir, line 3, you're going to want to talk this guy. It's the detective up in Aurora.
Get a phone call from Detective Hogan from the Aurora Police Department, which is a suburb of Denver.
Peter Chavez has walked into the front lobby of their police building in the company of an attorney to surrender himself on an arrest warrant for first-degree murder for Colorado Springs.
On the advice of counsel, Chavez isn't giving a statement. But later that day, detectives receive test results that bolster their case against Chavez and removes any need for further evidence.
The blood on his pants that he wore during the competition matches the blood of our victim, Jack Martinez.
I guess that pretty much wraps it up. Thanks.
He and he alone is responsible for the death of Jack Martinez.
Between the witness statements and the physical evidence, Kenda is able to piece together exactly what happened that night.
Hector Garcia, on the night of the murder, drives his friends from Denver to a breakdancing contest in the city auditorium.
You know? Man, that was a waste of our time. It was. The thing was rigged, bruh.
They receive what they believe is a participation ribbon, and they're right. They don't win anything, and they find this ribbon to be offensive.
Can I take your order, please?
Fries, right?
Yeah.
5 large.
Small, medium, or large?
Yeah, can we get 5 large?
Okay.
Yo, what's the guy's problem? What the hell? Yo, somebody needs to tell that guy to shut the hell up, yo. Yeah, it's gotta be a joke.
So when they're in line there, they're already frustrated and angry.
Shut the hell up, yo. That's it!
During that fight, Peter Chavez, for reasons known only to himself, takes a switch-bladed knife, puts it in his hand, attacks Jack Martinez from the rear, stabs him 3 times in the back,
Jack Martinez died that night on the pavement of a fast food parking lot.
Jack!
He didn't deserve that.
Unlike Chavez, Hector Garcia, the Martinez brothers, and Alan Cortez are not charged with any crime.
The only thing they did was engage in a misdemeanor fistfight, provoked by someone else. Peter Chavez was retained.
He was charged as an adult with murder in this case. But some people would say 4 years for murdering somebody. Was manslaughter a proper charge in this? Probably was. Peter Chavez didn't go from Denver to Colorado Springs that night with the intent to kill anybody. It wasn't something that was planned.
And in the space of less than a minute, a life is lost and a life is ruined. It's hard to imagine that that's the case, but nothing people do surprises me. It often disappoints me, but it never surprises me.
Coming up, a war of words ends in gunfire, and Kenda has to track down the man responsible.
You can run, but you're gonna have to answer for this.
It's a relatively quiet Tuesday night. Dennis Lucio is kind of nodding off in his easy chair, watching the end of a television show.
Mr. Lucio had decided that he was going to collect up his beer cans and take them outside for recycling. And then heard what he thought were gunshots. He looked out and saw a man lying in the street, and a pool of blood was starting to form.
All these people are running around, and his first thought is, get some help here as quickly as possible.
Dennis Lucio calls 911, and patrolmen quickly arrive on the scene. Not far behind them is Lieutenant Joe Kenda.
Hey, Skip. So what do we got? Richard Posey, age 29. He was shot 3 times, once in the neck. He's still alive, but it's not looking like he's gonna make it.
It's much easier to start off on a large scale with a homicide investigation and then scale it down if it ends up not being a homicide.
Smell that? He might have been hit 3 times, but there are a lot more shots fired than that.
And we still have the odor of gunpowder in the air.
I want you to stick around and see who we can talk to. I'm gonna head to the hospital to see if our victim's able to speak.
Yes, sir. Oh, while you're down there, maybe you can make contact with his brother. When officers arrived, he was standing over Mr. Posey. He rode down in the ambulance memorial with him.
Will do. Thanks.
The possibility does exist that Richard Posey is able to talk to us. Richard certainly saw the person that shot him and certainly knew why he was shot.
I'm looking for Richard Posey, the gunshot victim.
Yeah, the doctor's room with him now. Should be about another 15 minutes, but his brother's actually just up back there.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Are you Richard Posey's brother?
Yeah.
I'm Lieutenant Kenda.
Rodney came.
And I rode with him in the ambulance, and to hear him, you know, don't let me die. You know, I got too much to live for. I told him, you know, God got you. We're gonna, you know, you're gonna be all right. And I'll be honest, I didn't know if he was gonna be all right.
I understand how difficult this is, but we're just trying to find out who did this to your brother. Let's start at the beginning.
Richard just got back to the Springs, and we were throwing him a little party to welcome him.
He wanted to move his family back here and raise his family in Colorado Springs. And so we were throwing a barbecue. We had family and friends. A lot of us was there.
Everybody was having a good time, people in and out.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check out and see what's going on outside real quick.
Okay.
I'll be right back. All right.
You know, he was out on the front stoop for a little bit.
Given the time of the year of this party, it would be perfectly logical for people to sort of come and go in and out of the residence.
Is that when the shooting happened?
Nah, I saw Richard come back inside for a little while. It looked like something really bothered him. Seriously, you think What's up, Rich? Yo, what's up, man? You good?
Don't worry, bro. I'm good. I'm good.
You don't look so good, man. You need to relax. Yo, you want another beer?
I said I'm good.
Okay, all right, my bad. Yo, well, you want a beer then? All right, ladies, drinks?
So Richard walked out of the apartment. The next thing Rodney heard was gunshots in the parking lot.
Rich! Rich, hang in there, man. Hang in there. What you doing on me? What you doing? Call the doctor, somebody.
I was just scared to death. I just thought that, you know, I was gonna lose my brother. I wanted to protect my big brother, Richard, like he protected me my whole life.
The guy with the gun ran right past me. But I was just focused on getting to my brother, and then he was gone. I heard him say to his friends, I hope I killed him. Call help, get help!
So there are important pieces that Rodney does tell us. We know that our victim, Richard, is upset about something when he comes in the apartment. We also know that the black male in his 20s who flees the area in a black car is likely the person responsible for the shooting.
Excuse me, Lieutenant. The doctor said you can meet with him now.
Okay. We'll keep you updated as this progresses. I'm going to see if your brother saw anything that can help us.
We did receive permission from the doctors to talk to him, although it had to be very brief.
Mr. Posey, I know you're in a lot of pain right now, but I was hoping you had the energy to talk to me for a minute.
Okay.
Do you know who shot you?
No. I just moved here. I don't know his name, but I think my cousin does.
So our victim says that his cousin Dana was in an argument with an unknown person he'd never seen before, and that this person is the one who shot him.
Richard, you know, coming to the defense of his cousin Dana, and that's where the trouble started.
Went inside. I came back out to see if he was gone. He just started shooting.
Lieutenant, it's time.
Okay. Mr. Posey, I'm going to let you rest. If you can think of any further description, have your family reach out to me. I hope you have a full recovery.
Was Dana dating the guy that she was arguing with? Did they have some sort of relationship? Had there been a bad breakup? You know, what exactly led to this argument?
Well, that obviously says that cousin Dana needs to be talked to immediately to find out if she knows who this person was.
Dana Shaw?
Yes.
Could you just give us a moment? Yeah, I just got back from the hospital, and Richard said you might be acquaintances with the man that shot him.
Me? No, I've never seen these guys a day in my life.
Dana tells us that she was out front where the party was going on, and she saw a group of people sort of lingering around.
One of those people steps forward and offers her drugs as a way of introduction.
I told him we didn't partake in that and to get out of here.
And, you didn't know any of them?
Well, none of the guys. The girl that they were with, she was familiar. I recognized her from around the neighborhood. She's a dealer. Cheryl? Cheryl Stewart?
Thank you.
So now we have a possible source for the identity of our shooter. Whoever Cheryl Stewart is next on our list.
Kenda and Arms mine their files for the name Cheryl Stewart. If she's a dealer, as Dana Shaw suggested, then she's likely to have a record.
Bingo.
You got something?
What I have is an arrest warrant for a Shirley Ann Stewart, wanted for the distribution of narcotics. Shirley Ann / Cheryl. It's her AKA, but close enough.
You see it? Okay, let's send a couple uniforms to her last known address.
Got it.
Acting on her outstanding warrant, CSPD officers scoop up Shirley Ann Stewart, aka Cheryl, and deliver her to Kenda's interrogation room.
Look, I told them I didn't sell any drugs.
I don't care about your drug bust.
Then what am I doing here?
We have information that you were a witness or possibly an accomplice to a shooting yesterday. That is what you're doing here.
And you're gonna tell us what you know.
And why would I do that?
When we have the leverage because of an arrest warrant, oftentimes we can essentially convince them that it's in their best interest to share information for us, and perhaps we can provide some assistance in dealing with the arrest warrant.
So you can make that go away?
Well, I'm a homicide detective, not the district attorney. But let's just say I know the district attorney.
Okay. He popped that guy. I was there.
And who's he?
Lorenzo. He's my boyfriend.
She immediately says, well, hey, I just started dating him. He is my boyfriend. His name is Lorenzo. He also goes by the name Lo, an abbreviation of Lorenzo. She doesn't know his last name.
You don't know his last name, and he's your boyfriend.
Look, I told you, we just started up.
And that's not too hard to believe. It's a very casual involvement in everyone.
Anyways, he's gone. You're not gonna find him.
He fled town. He's gone. He's not here anymore. He's not here and he's not coming back. That's what she says.
Well, where did he go?
He said he was going home.
Shirley shared with us that Lorenzo was from Oklahoma, Tulsa area, and she believes that is where he went to avoid being picked up here in Colorado Springs.
It's okay, Lorenzo, you can run, but you're not going to be able to hide for very long because we're going to hunt you down in Oklahoma and you're going to have to answer for this. We're investigating the shooting of Richard Posey. The investigation has revealed that the person responsible for this is known only as Lorenzo or Lo, and further that he has fled the jurisdiction on his way to Oklahoma.
Kenda sends Lorenzo's girlfriend Shirley to meet with a resident sketch artist to create a composite image of Lorenzo.
No, his mustache is a little fuller.
Okay, more like that?
Yes, that's him. That's Lorenzo.
Are you positive that's a strong resemblance?
Resemblance? It looks just like a picture of him.
I'll go ahead and fax that to the Tulsa authorities.
Yes, sir.
So that's it? Can I go home now?
Like I explained, I'm not the district attorney.
There's no break. There's none of that. Don't be a criminal. That's your break. We've given you usable advice for your future. But for right now, you're going to jail to face charges that you already obtained before we got interested in you.
It's Kenda.
Hello, Lieutenant. I'm calling from Tulsa County Sheriff's Office. Hey, we got that fax that you sent over and several of my detectives took a look at it.
Can you help ID him?
Sure can, but y'all have his alias. His real name is Arthur, it's not Lorenzo.
In their opinion, that composite is a clear image of Arthur Williams Jr., but he has a number of aliases to include Lorenzo and Lo.
That's fantastic. Do you think you can locate him?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can locate him for you.
Am I missing something?
Yeah, he's in our county jail.
Excuse me? He got arrested 2 days after he arrived in Oklahoma for attempted robbery, and he's in custody.
I think God just decided, okay, he's not going to get away with it. Don't worry about it. So I'm real thankful.
Kenda has Arthur Williams Jr. extradited and brought to CSPD headquarters.
They will conduct a small hearing in front of a judge. Most waive their right to extradition hearings and say, yeah, I'll go back, because it's going to happen anyway, whether they want it to or not.
Arthur, I'm Lieutenant Kenda. This is Detective Irons.
Shows you ain't got nothing on me. You don't even know my real name.
Oh, yeah? Well, why don't you inform us?
Larry Williams. I just go by Arthur Lorenzo sometimes.
So who knows who he truly is? Maybe he doesn't know either.
Well, whoever you are, I know you're the person that tried to kill Richard Posey. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, that dude was trying to kill me.
Oh, really?
He told investigators Richard went back into the house to get a gun. So Larry said he needed to get a gun, which he did. And then when Richard came back out, he claims that Richard had a gun. And so at that point, Larry shoots him in self-defense.
He said he went inside to obviously get a gun. What's so obvious about him going inside? He lives there.
Larry or Arthur, whatever your name is, I'm done with you. I've got enough to send you away for a long time. And you better pray for Mr. Posey.
Why should I be praying for that dude?
Because if he dies, you're gonna spend the rest of your life in prison. Get him out of my face.
Get up. Put your hands behind your back.
Larry Williams, a.k.a. Arthur, a.k.a. Lorenzo, is taken to jail to await indictment on criminal charges, which thankfully for Richard Posey only rise to the level of attempted homicide.
This is Kenda. You kidding? He's gonna make it?
Richard Posey is alive by mere chance because Williams had a design to kill him.
My brother, Rodney, he was there. And yeah, I really appreciated that my brother was there, to hold me down. So I believe that God had me all the time, so I give the praises to him, My brother comes second, and he understands that just as well as I do.
At that time, it was a very sad and scary time for us, but now we've moved on and, but he's here. He's here, he's alive.
With the ballistics results and Richard's testimony, the full story becomes clear.
A toast to my big bro. Finally back in the Springs, where he belongs. Let's turn it up one time. Do it.
I remember that day just like yesterday. Well, listen, everybody was drinking that night.
Yo, can we get in your party?
Nah, family only.
Oh, yeah? Well, how about we start a little party of our own then?
Some uninvited guest shows up, one of whom is Larry Williams.
Nah, we good. We don't do that over here.
All right, look, I make serious money off of this. You sure you don't smoke rock? You look kind of high right now.
Whores and bitches make money, too. Which one are you? Seem like a broke-ass bitch to me.
She basically put this guy down, and embarrassed him a little bit.
Look, we calling a bitch, bitch.
Wait, ho. Can I help you?
Mind your own business, man. I'm talking to this bitch right here.
I'm her older cousin. I couldn't stand there to let some man disrespect her. We all grew up together, so she was like a sister to me.
Look, this is a family affair. I don't know why you're going around calling people names.
Man, get out of my face, man.
Look, I got a better idea. Why don't you and your little posse get the hell up out of here before you say something you regret?
I said it kind of harsh to him. You don't be talking to my cousin like that, so that could trigger him off too,
Seriously, you think you'll... What's up, Rich?
Richard comes in the door and he's very distressed. Williams goes to his car and gets a weapon. Posey collapses face first in the parking lot. Williams walks up to him and shoots him in the back while he's on the ground. Williams then runs, jumps in a car, and drives out of the area and out of the state to avoid arrest.
Rich, hang in there, dog.
I still got bullets, and the older I get, the more pain I'm having and everything. You know, my life is just not the same.
Larry Williams is tried and convicted of first-degree assault and is sentenced to 10 years in the state penitentiary. Though Williams's actions almost cost Richard Posey his life, Richard derives no joy from the case's final outcome.
They called it the Summer of Silence, 1988, a year that bled into the streets of coastal California, where the sun was bright but the air carried something strange, like static before a storm. In the small town of Elwood, tucked between the cliffs and the Pacific, everyone knew everyone. The kind of place where front doors stayed unlocked, and the loudest sound at night was the tide rolling in. But that summer, the ocean brought something else ashore. A diary. Half-soaked, half-burned, pages fused together by salt and smoke. And from the moment it was found, Elwood would never sleep the same again. The diary belonged to a 17-year-old girl named Anna Westbrook. Her face had once smiled from the yearbook of Elwood High. Freckles across her cheeks, a chipped front tooth she hated, a look both shy and defiant. She was last seen on July the 14th, 1988, leaving a late shift at a diner on Main Street. She told her friend she was walking home. She never made it. Her body was never found, and the case froze, colder than the Pacific. At first, people said she'd run away, that she'd finally escaped the small town she always complained about. But her mother, Evelyn Westbrook, never believed it. She said Anna was planning to start college that fall. She'd packed her notebooks, written essays, circled dorm addresses. Girls who plan their futures don't just vanish. Evelyn called the police. They searched the cliffs, drained parts of the harbor, brought in dogs. Nothing. No blood, no witnesses, no struggle. Just gone. The police file would later list it as a missing person, no foul play confirmed. But the town felt the truth pressing down, heavy and invisible. You don't lose a 17-year-old girl without a trace. You don't find her diary on the beach 3 weeks later without asking why. The diary wasn't much, what remained of it. Pages warped and blurred, but one sentence survived. Scribbled in red ink, scrawled across the margin of the last page, "He waits by the lighthouse." That line would haunt Elwood for decades. Detectives read it. Reporters printed it. Teenagers whispered it at bonfires like a curse. "He waits by the lighthouse." Some said it was a boyfriend. Others thought it was code. The lighthouse stood at the end of the old harbor, abandoned since the 1950s, its glass shattered, its tower sealed. The police searched there once. They found seagull bones, broken bottles, and graffiti. Nothing more. The diary was logged, bagged, and filed away. Case inactive. Evelyn never stopped. For 37 years, she called every detective who'd listen. She wrote letters, hired private investigators, begged TV shows to cover Anna's case. Most stopped returning her calls. Cold cases don't sell. But Evelyn's persistence became its own kind of legend. A mother who refused to bury hope, even without a body. The locals still talk about her, about the woman who stands by the lighthouse every July, clutching a photograph in the dark. She says she feels Anna's presence there, like the ocean hasn't finished speaking. Back in 1988, before the case went cold, one officer took the diary seriously. Detective Alan Mercer, 34 years old, quiet, deliberate, known for his instincts. He believed that one sentence, "He waits by the lighthouse," wasn't random. He searched the area 3 times, found tire tracks in the dirt, cigarette butts, an old Polaroid camera with film still inside, but the negatives were destroyed by moisture. He filed them under unusable evidence. Mercer was convinced Anna knew her killer. But without a body, Without witnesses, his theory was dismissed as obsession. The department had other priorities: gang activity, a drug ring uptown, a city under pressure. A missing teenager from a sleepy coastal town didn't make headlines for long. Then, one night in August, a fisherman named Roy Carter reported seeing a car submerged near the rocks below the lighthouse. Police divers recovered a rusted blue Chevrolet Nova, plates matching Anna's missing vehicle. Inside, they found a single shoe, a wallet, and a photo ID. Anna's. The interior smelled faintly of gasoline and salt. But there was no body, just water, mud, and silence. The car deepened the mystery. The engine was off. The driver's side door open. It didn't look like an accident. It looked staged. But the tide had eaten away most traces. Mercer wrote in his report, "If this was a crash, someone wanted it to look like one." Then came the strange part. In the back seat, tucked under the lining, a note written on notebook paper, faded but legible. "Forgive me. It wasn't supposed to end like this. No signature, no fingerprints." The note reignited the case for 2 weeks. Then silence again. Without forensics strong enough to link it to anyone, the department shelved the file. Anna's disappearance joined hundreds of others in the archives, just another face fading behind the dust of unsolved tragedy. But the diary stayed alive. People said the words carried something dark, that every officer who handled the evidence later transferred or left the force. Superstition, maybe, but in small towns, superstition becomes memory. 37 years later, the name Anna Westbrook returned to the news, not because of new witnesses, not because of a confession, but because of a storm. In early 2025, heavy rains tore through Elwood, flooding parts of the coastal road. Landslides forced cleanup crews to dig near the old lighthouse, the same one sealed since the 1950s. Beneath layers of mud and debris, they found a metal locker, rusted, chained shut, half buried in stone. Inside, wrapped in a decaying tarp, were human remains. Forensic tests confirmed it within days. DNA matched samples from Evelyn Westbrook. Anna had been there all along, hidden beneath the cliffs she used to walk by every evening. But the real shock came next. Alongside the bones was a second diary, intact this time, preserved by the sealed metal. The cover bore the same initials, A.W. Inside were pages upon pages of entries no one had ever seen. Dates, names, small details of her life in the months before she vanished. Notes about friends, about fear, about something, or someone, she called the man with the matches. Detectives reopened the case. The handwriting was verified. The tone grew darker as the entries progressed. The final weeks were filled with paranoia, scribbles, and half-finished sentences. The last full entry read, "He said the fire will fix everything. If I don't go, he'll come to the house." The room went cold when they read that line. For Evelyn, it was proof. Anna had been terrified. She'd been hunted. Someone close to her had promised something terrible. And for the detectives who inherited Mercer's old files, it was the start of a resurrection, the reopening of one of California's most haunting cold cases. When they cross-referenced the names mentioned in the diary, one stood out. Michael Dunn, 22 years old in 1988, local mechanic, arrested twice for trespassing near the lighthouse as a teenager. No record of violence, but neighbors described him as odd, obsessed with fire, and always watching the cliffs. Michael Dunn left Elwood in 1989, never returned. Records showed he'd moved north, changed jobs, changed names. He died in 2014 of a heart attack in Oregon. Case closed, people thought. But the diary complicated everything. The forensics team found microscopic traces of accelerant residue on the edges of the diary, traces matching materials used in automotive repair. It linked back to Dunn's old shop. Too little, too late for prosecution. but enough to raise the dead. When the news broke, California 1988 cold case solved, victim's diary leads detectives to killer. The town split in half. Some said justice had come at last. Others said the truth was more twisted, that the diary had been planted, that someone wanted closure more than accuracy. But before those doubts could take root, one final detail emerged. Inside the locker, behind the diary, detectives found a small metal lighter, its casing engraved with 2 letters, A plus M. A plus M, Anna and Michael. The kind of thing young lovers carve when they think forever means something. The fire, the diary, the car in the sea. Suddenly the story rewrote itself. The case wasn't about disappearance anymore. It was about guilt, love, and control. Detectives pieced together a chilling theory. Anna and Michael had a secret relationship. She wanted out. He didn't. The fight turned violent near the lighthouse. The fire that would fix everything wasn't a metaphor. It was real. He tried to burn the evidence, but the tide took what the flames couldn't. He buried her, locked her away beneath the cliffs, and vanished before anyone could connect the dots. For Evelyn, it wasn't enough. She wanted answers. She wanted to look into the eyes of the man who'd taken her daughter. But the only thing left was the sea, and a diary that had waited almost 4 decades to speak. And even as the detectives closed their files, even as the headlines declared case solved, something still didn't sit right, because on the final page of the second diary, in a different handwriting, faint but unmistakable, was one last line. She wasn't alone that night. Da swingi chung 43. The handwriting was the first thing that bothered them. Not the bones, not the lighter, not the sudden manufactured sense of closure. It was that thin, wavering sentence at the bottom of the page, letters slanting differently, loops tighter, pressure weaker. A stranger's hand intruding on a dead girl's voice. She wasn't alone that night. 4 words that cracked the illusion of a neatly solved cold case. In the evidence lab, under the hum of fluorescent lights, Detective Maya Ruiz stared at the page through a glass pane. The diary lay open like a wound, gloved fingers hovering inches above it. She'd been assigned to the Elwood Cold Case Unit only 6 months earlier, brought in from Los Angeles because the department wanted fresh eyes. They got more than that. Maya didn't believe in easy endings, especially not ones that arrived 37 years late, on a wave of media pressure and political relief. The forensics tech, Grant, leaned over her shoulder. "You see the difference?" he asked. "I'd have to be blind not to," she replied. They'd already run the handwriting analysis twice. First, to confirm that the main entries belonged to Anna. They did, down to the quirks in her lowercase g and the little hooks she put on her y. The second test focused on that last sentence. The report came back with a single conclusion. Not consistent, likely a different author. So who picked up her pen? Maya replayed the scenario in her mind. Anna in 1988, writing her last lines. Fear in the curve of each letter. He said the fire will fix everything. If I don't go, he'll come to the house. That was her. That was her voice, spiraling out. And then, nothing. A gap. A blackout, maybe a struggle, maybe a whisper. Then, later, someone else bending over the open diary, adding a comment like a footnote to a tragedy. She wasn't alone that night. Was it guilt? A confession? A warning? Or just someone trying to shape the story from the shadows? The headlines didn't care. They ran with the clean version. Victim's hidden diary ties 1988, disappearance to deceased mechanic. Photos of Michael Dunn's grim mugshot, grainy and faded. A neat arc. A dead suspect who couldn't defend himself. A town ready to exhale. But Elwood didn't exhale. Not really. At the coffee shop on Harbour Road, old-timers lowered their voices when the subject came up. At the high school, teachers used Anna's story as a cautionary tale about walking alone at night. Parents locked doors they'd once left open. And Evelyn refused to call it closure. The first time Maya went to see her, The house felt like a mausoleum dedicated to one person. Anna's photos on every wall. Post-it notes stuck to frames. Age 10, first recital. Age 15, school trip. Last Christmas before she disappeared. Time stopped in 1988 and never restarted. Evelyn opened the door slowly, her eyes sharp despite the years. "You're the new one," she said. Not a question. "Yes, ma'am. Detective Ruiz. I'm leading the follow-up on Anna's case." "Follow-up? That what they call doubt now?" Maya didn't flinch. "I call it due diligence." They sat at a kitchen table that smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and old paper. Evelyn's hands trembled only once, when Maya placed a photocopy of the last diary page in front of her. The line in different handwriting sat there like a stain. "Do you recognize this?" Maya asked. Evelyn's eyes moved slowly across the page. "That's not my Anna," she murmured. She pressed harder when she was scared. The pen dug in. "See? Here. This looks like someone trying not to be noticed." Noticed by who? By whoever was in the room. The clock on the wall ticked. 1 second. 2. A lifetime. "Mrs. Westbrook," Maya continued softly. "Is there anyone you can think of, anyone at all, who might have had access to her diary back then? Friends, neighbors, teachers?" Evelyn's gaze shifted to the window, out toward the distant line of the coast. "The only people in this town who read her diary," she said, "are the ones who took it from her." The words hit like a slap. Back in 1988, the diary had been found washed ashore, half burned, half dissolved, with only fragments left. But this second diary, the one in the locker, had stayed hidden. Protected. Conscious. Someone had gone to extreme lengths to keep it close to her. Why? To bury the truth? Or to bury themselves? That night, alone in her apartment, Maya spread copies of everything across the floor. Crime scene photos from the lighthouse, autopsy results from the newly recovered remains, old reports from Detective Mercer, newspaper clippings yellowed with age. They formed a mosaic of failure and fear. In one corner, Mercer's handwriting, neat, methodical, covered a page. Working theory: Anna knew her abductor. Evidence of voluntary meeting near lighthouse. Question: did she go to stop something or start something? Below that, a photocopy of the original diary fragment from 1988, the soaked page with the now famous line, "He waits by the lighthouse." 2 diaries, 1 sentence that survived the sea, 1 line that survived the dark. She circled both. He waits by the lighthouse. She wasn't alone that night. 2 sentences, 2 authors, 2 stories that overlapped but didn't quite match. Maya felt the case clawing at her. This wasn't just about naming a killer. It was about untangling a narrative that had been carefully edited, rewritten, and buried. The cold case had been frozen not by lack of evidence, but by someone's deliberate choice. The next morning, she went to the archives. The basement smelled of metal and mildew, shelves lined with boxes labeled in fading ink. Homicide 1986. Missing Persons 1987. Westbrook A. 1988. She pulled the box down. Inside, old Polaroids of the lighthouse, photos of Anna's car being pulled from the surf, interview transcripts with friends from school. One name appeared repeatedly. L. Harper. Lena Harper, Anna's best friend, interviewed 3 times, crying in every photo. The first transcript was dated July 16, 1988, 2 days after Anna vanished. Anna was nervous that week, Lena had told them. She said someone was following her. I thought she was stressed. She kept talking about a secret, said if something happened to her, it would be because of him. She never said who. The second interview, a week later, went deeper. She went down to the lighthouse sometimes. Lena had confessed. At night. I told her it was stupid, but she said he only felt safe talking there. I don't know who he is. She never told me his name. Just the man with the matches. The man with the matches, The third interview happened after the car was found. Lena had shut down. "I don't want to talk about this anymore," she'd said. "I'm scared. Everyone's looking at me like I should have stopped her. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." After that, no more interviews, no follow-ups, no pressure. 2 months later, Lena moved out of Elwood, never to return. Maya checked the records. Lena had changed her last name twice. Marriage, divorce. She now lived 3 states away, middle of nowhere, working as a nurse. 2 hours and 4 phone calls later, Maya had a number. The phone rang 7 times before a tired voice answered. "Hello? Ms. Harper. My name is Detective Ruiz. I'm calling about a case from Elwood, from 1988. Silence, then a long exhale. "You found her," Lena said quietly. Not a question. A statement. A verdict. "Yes," Maya replied. "We did. And we found something else. Her diary. The second one." The line crackled. "I told her to burn it," Lena whispered. "I told her some things were better not written down." "And did she?" "No." A bitter laugh. Anna believed in evidence. She said if anything happened, the truth had to live somewhere, even if she didn't. Maya's grip tightened on the phone. "Miss Harper, there's a line in the diary that doesn't match Anna's handwriting. We're trying to figure out who wrote it." "What line?" She wasn't alone that night. Nothing. Just the sound of breathing on the other end. Shallow. Unsteady. "I can't talk about this," Lena said finally. "I have a life now. A job. Kids. I can't go back there." "You already are," Maya said, voice low. "Every night. You've been going back there for 37 years. Don't you want to stop?" Another silence. You could hear the weight of 3 decades in it. "When you look at that line," Lena asked, "do you think it was written by someone who wanted to help her, or someone who wanted to erase her?" "I don't know yet." "There were more than 2 of them," Lena blurted suddenly. "That's what no one wants to believe. Everyone in that town wanted a single monster, a stranger, a bad man they could point to and say, he did it. But that's not what happened." "More than 2 who?" "The night she disappeared," Lena said, her voice breaking. "Anna told me she was meeting him, the man with the matches. But she also said someone else might come, someone who knew too much, someone who could ruin everything." "Did she say a name?" "No, but she said one thing I never told the police." Maya leaned in, heart hammering. "What?" She said, "If I don't come back, check the margins." The margins. After the call ended, Maya went back to the lab, adrenaline buzzing in her veins. She pulled out the diary again, turned pages, scanned edges. Notes, scribbles, doodles, names half erased. On one random page, near the entry about a test at school, a word was circled 3 times in the margin. "Choir." Another page, a small sketch of the lighthouse. Beside it, Thursday practice, 7 p.m. Another margin note, "Ask Mr. Lewis about ride." She fanned through the last month of entries. Almost every other page mentioned the same thing. Choir, practice, church, Thursday nights, Mr. Lewis. Back to the files. Cross-reference. Daniel Lewis, 1988, age 38, high school music teacher, choir director. Married. 2 kids. No criminal record. Interviewed once, briefly. Nice girl. Talented singer. Tragic loss. No follow-up. Maya's pen tapped against the table. The man with the matches. The mechanic. Obsessed with fire. Known for hanging around the cliffs. And the teacher, always there on Thursday nights, giving rides home to students, trusted, invisible. 2 men. 2 opportunities. One girl pressed between them like glass. In one of Mercer's old notes, scribbled in the margins, a single line glowed under the harsh light. Multiple spheres of influence, not just one predator. Town doesn't want to see what's in front of them. He'd seen it. He just couldn't prove it. Now, decades later, Anna's diary was speaking again, not through the body of the text, but through its edges, its throwaway words, its margins, the place where people hid the things they were too afraid to say out loud. When Maya left the station that night, The lighthouse was a dark outline on the horizon, a broken tooth against the sky. She drove down to the coast, parked near the barrier, stepped out into the wind. The air smelled like salt and rust and something older. She walked as far as the crime scene tape would allow, stopping just shy of the cliffs. Below, the ocean pounded the rocks, relentless, erasing and erasing and erasing. She wasn't alone that night, Maya whispered into the wind. Somewhere out there, 3 stories collided. Anna's, Michael's, and whoever wrote that final line. The cold case might have a name for the cameras. But in the dark, under the weight of the waves, the real question still pulsed like a heartbeat. If the diary led them to one killer, who was it trying to lead them away from? The storm hit the coast that night. Rain like needles, wind cutting through the dark. The streets of Elwood gleamed under flickering streetlights, puddles swelling into rivers that carried dust, leaves, and ghosts. In the police station, Detective Maya Ruiz watched the lightning flash against the window, her reflection ghosting over the storm. Behind her, the evidence board pulsed with faces, dates, photos. Anna Westbrook in the center, her yearbook smile frozen in time. Red string ran from her picture to others. Michael Dunn, the mechanic. Lena Harper, the friend. Daniel Lewis, the choir teacher. A map of the old town sat beneath them, with the lighthouse circled in black marker. A storm outside, and a storm on the wall. The heater clicked on and off. The hum of the building felt alive. On her desk lay a printed scan of the diary margin. Choir, Thursday. Mr. Lewis. The ink faint, almost erased, but not enough to hide. She typed his name into the state database again. Daniel Edward Lewis, retired, 69 years old, lives 30 miles inland in Bakersfield. No criminal record, 2 adult sons, wife deceased. Nothing unusual, on paper. But 37 years ago, paper had been a wall. You could hide anything behind it. Maya picked up the phone, dialed the Bakersfield Sheriff's Department. This is Detective Ruiz from Elwood PD. I'm reopening a historical homicide. I need assistance with a welfare check. The deputy on the other end sounded half asleep. On who? Daniel Lewis, former music teacher. Anything urgent? Just do it, Maya said. The call ended. She leaned back, eyes on the photo of the lighthouse pinned above the board. In the picture, the tower rose crooked against the sky, its door rusted shut, its shadow like a knife across the sand. That place had eaten everything. Truth, lives, time. She didn't sleep that night. Instead, she read every page of Anna's recovered diary again, slowly, in order. The entries began light, notes about classes, songs, small dreams. Then came the unease. He's watching me at the diner. He says he knows how to make fire dance. Mr. Lewis said to stay focused. Mom doesn't believe me. Lena's scared I'll tell. By late June, her words spiraled. I told him I won't meet anymore. He said I'm part of something now. He said I'll understand after the fire. Then came the last entry. He said the fire will fix everything. If I don't go, he'll come to the house. A pause, then the foreign line. She wasn't alone that night. Rain hammered harder. The diary sat on the table like an open wound. By morning, the storm had passed. The phone rang just as sunlight sliced through the blinds. This is Deputy Carson from Bakersfield, the voice said. About your welfare check. Yeah, Maya replied. Daniel Lewis is dead. The words landed flat, final. How long? Neighbors say they hadn't seen him since Thursday. Found him this morning. Gunshot to the head. No note. Maya froze. Thursday. The same day she found his name in the diary margins. Did he live alone? Yes, Mom. Wife passed years ago. We're securing the scene now. You'll want to see this yourself. 2 hours later, Maya was on Highway 5, the California sun sharp and cold through the windshield. The ride felt endless, the road unspooling like a reel of film she'd already seen too many times. When she reached Bakersfield, the deputy led her into a quiet cul-de-sac lined with palm trees. The Lewis house stood at the end, a single-story, paint-peeling, blinds drawn. The yellow tape fluttered in the breeze. Inside, the air was heavy. Still. The living room was tidy except for one corner. A small wooden desk stacked with old photographs, hymn sheets, and a worn, leather-bound notebook. "Found that on the desk," the deputy said. "Figured it might mean something." Maya slipped on gloves, opened it. The handwriting was elegant, old-fashioned. Dates from decades past, sermon notes, class rosters, song lyrics. Then, tucked between pages, a photo fell out. A Polaroid. It showed a group of high school students standing outside the church hall. Among them, unmistakable, was Anna Westbrook, smiling shyly, choir robe slightly too big. Next to her stood Daniel Lewis, younger then, his hand on her shoulder. On the back of the photo, a single sentence written in the same hand as the diary's final line. "She sang beautifully that night." Maya's pulse spiked. The handwriting match was exact. He wrote it. He was there. She closed the notebook, stared at the floor. "What else did you find?" The deputy hesitated. "You're going to want to see the garage." They led her out back. The garage smelled of oil, rust, and dust. Tools hung neatly on the wall. But one thing stood out. A stack of old choir trophies, their brass faces dulled. Next to them, a cardboard box labeled Memories. Inside were photographs. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Students, performances, smiles. But the deeper Maya dug, the more uneasy she felt. Some of the photos were candid, clearly taken without the subject's knowledge. Girls near lockers, by the beach, walking home, and in the center of one stack, Anna again. Different lighting, different time. Alone, looking away. Behind her, a faint shape in the darkness. A man's silhouette. Watching. Maya exhaled through her teeth. Jesus! Then she saw it. Taped to the inside of the box lid. A newspaper clipping from 1988. Headline: "Teen missing after late shift at diner." In pen, someone had circled Anna's name and written one word beside it. Redeemed. Redeemed. Maya felt the word crawl under her skin. She looked back at the photo of the choir. Lewis's hand on Anna's shoulder. The smile that wasn't quite real. The light that hid too much. She called the coroner's office. "Make sure to test for residue," she said, "and run full prints on everything in that room." By the time she left Bakersfield, the sun was setting. The sky bled orange over the horizon. The case file on her passenger seat felt heavier than ever. Back in Elwood, she stopped by the pier before heading home. The waves glowed in the fading light, each crest a mirror of fire. She thought about the diary, about the lighter with A+M carved into it, about the man with the matches, and the teacher who preached redemption. It wasn't adding up. If Daniel Lewis killed Anna, why hide the body in a locker near the lighthouse, his own sanctuary? Why keep her photos, her story, her ghost, for decades? Why write that last line only after she was gone? And why shoot himself just days after his name resurfaced? Someone had stirred the ashes, someone had warned him. The next morning, Maya returned to the station. The forensic team had new results. Grant met her at the door, eyes wide. "You're not going to believe this," he said. "We ran secondary DNA tests on the diary. The edges, the margins, not just the pages Anna touched. And there are two profiles. One's hers. The other, male. Unidentified." "Not Lewis?" He shook his head. "No, doesn't match. Not Dunn either. Someone else entirely." Maya stared at the report. Someone who handled the diary before we found it. Or someone who helped bury it. Grant said. The idea hit like a spark. If Anna met both men that night, Dunn and Lewis, then maybe she wasn't the only one who never made it home. Maybe someone else helped cover the trail. "Check Mercer's old evidence logs," Maya said. "Find out who processed the original diary back in 8. An hour later, Grant came back holding a faded report. "You're not going to like this." The signature at the bottom of the chain of custody form read, A. Mercer. Detective Alan Mercer, The original investigator. The one who believed she knew her killer. The one who kept looking when everyone else gave up. Mercer logged the diary, sealed it, and stored it himself. Grant said. He even hand-wrote the transfer note, but there's no record of where it went after the evidence room was reorganized in 1993. The whole box disappeared until the storm uncovered it this year. Maya leaned back slowly, blood pounding in her ears. You're saying Mercer could have kept it? Hidden it? Or someone took it from him? Where is he now? Grant hesitated. He retired in '99, moved to Oregon. Oregon? Maya's eyes narrowed. That's where Dunn died. The room went still. She pulled up Mercer's address. A small town outside Eugene. No recent phone number. No social media. But a public record. Property taxes paid under his name until 2023. After that, nothing. Find me an obituary, she said. 10 minutes later, Grant returned. Alan Mercer. Died 2 years ago. Heart failure. Anyone survive him? Just a son. Name's David Mercer. Lives in Elwood. The name hung in the air like smoke. Maya's voice dropped. Get me his file. David Mercer, 39. Works as a maintenance contractor for the city. Specifically, coastal infrastructure. Including the lighthouse district. The lighthouse. The pieces began to slide into place. Too perfectly. Too quietly. If Mercer had kept the diary after the case went cold, his son would have had access to it. The same son who grew up hearing his father's obsession with the Westbrook case. The same son who worked the cleanup crew near the cliffs, the exact area where the locker was discovered. She wasn't alone that night. The words weren't written in 1988. They were written recently. Added by someone who found the diary before the police did. Someone who wanted to rewrite the ending. Maya's hands trembled slightly as she stared at the evidence board. The photos. The string. The circle around the lighthouse. The case wasn't solved. It had only been rearranged. 37 years of silence. 3 men. 1 girl. 1 diary that refused to stay buried. Outside, thunder rumbled again over the Pacific. Detective Ruiz reached for her keys. I'm going to talk to David Mercer, she said. And as she stepped out into the rain, she didn't know if she was walking toward the truth or straight into the fire that had been waiting all along. The rain had thinned to a cold mist by the time she reached the lighthouse road. Grey sky, grey sea, grey concrete barriers lined with orange cones. Work trucks idled along the edge of the cliff, city maintenance logos smeared with mud. The lighthouse loomed ahead, a blind tower staring out over the Pacific, its rusted door sealed like a scar. Detective Maya Ruiz parked just outside the barrier and stepped out. The air tasted metallic, like old pennies and salt. Up ahead, a man in a reflective jacket was kneeling near a concrete crack, checking for erosion, clipboard balanced on his knee. David Mercer. Up close, he looked younger than she'd expected, and older at the same time. Late 30s. Stubble, dark hair pushed back under a cap. A tired kind of handsome. Lines at the corners of his eyes that didn't come from laughing. There was something in the way he moved, steady, methodical, that reminded her of someone she'd only met in files and photos. His father. You're not supposed to be past the tape, he called out without looking up. The tone was routine, practiced, like he'd said it 100 times to curious tourists. I'm not a tourist, Maya said. He glanced over his shoulder, eyes skimming the badge on her belt. His expression shifted. Careful now. You must be Ruiz, he said. My supervisor said you called. I did. She stopped a few feet away, boots leaving damp prints on the cracked asphalt. Behind them, the ocean growled against the rocks, endlessly repeating the same threat. You picked a hell of a place to work, Mercer, he shrugged. It pays the bills. Someone's got to make sure this thing doesn't fall into the sea. The lighthouse? The whole town. He rose, wiped his hands on his jacket. Up close, the resemblance to Alan Mercer was undeniable. Same jawline, same eyes, same way of weighing a person like they were a piece of evidence. I hear your father used to walk this road a lot, she said. Yeah, he did. A shadow crossed his face. But you didn't drive all the way out here to talk about him, did you? She watched him for a beat. The wind tugged at his jacket, tried to steal his words before he could say them. You were on the crew that found the locker, Maya said, the one with Anna Westbrook's remains. His gaze flicked toward the spot where the ground had collapsed months earlier, fresh concrete now, a clean patch over an old wound. That's right, he said. Had to pull half a hillside off the road after that storm. The locker popped out like a bad tooth. I called it in. Did my civic duty. The way he said it was too smooth, like he'd rehearsed that line. You recognize the name? She asked. Anna Westbrook. He laughed once, without humor. Everyone in this town recognizes that name. I grew up with it. Every dinner, every holiday, my dad never let it go. Obsessed? Dedicated, he corrected. Then, obsessed, by the end. She stepped closer, lowering her voice so the wind couldn't carry it away. When the locker cracked open, you saw what was inside before anyone else. The bones, the diary, the lighter. You touched anything? He stiffened. You think I contaminated your crime scene? I think you're human, she said. And curious. And your entire childhood revolved around a case that suddenly burst out of the ground in front of you. His jaw tightened. I called it in, he repeated. I waited for your people to show. I did exactly what the manual says. The manual doesn't cover what it feels like when your father's ghost comes crawling out of the mud, she said softly. For a second, something raw flashed across his face. Then it was gone. My father was a good cop, he said. I've read his notes. She replied. He was more than good. He was relentless. But he also held on to evidence after the case was closed. The original diary fragment. He logged it, stored it, and then it vanished from the official inventory. We didn't see it again until we dug up that locker. You know what that looks like from where I'm standing? His eyes darkened. You trying to smear a dead man because your lab can't tell you what you want to hear? Here's what my lab can tell me, Maya said, voice flat. The last line in that diary wasn't written by Anna. The margin DNA belongs to a male we haven't identified. Not Dunn, not Lewis. Someone else. Someone who touched that book long after your father signed the first chain of custody form. The waves pounded below them. You're looking at me like I signed it, he said. I'm looking at you like you grew up in a house where those files were never put away, she shot back. Where that girl's face was on the table more than your own. Where he waits by the lighthouse was practically a bedtime story. He flinched at the phrase. Just a fraction. Enough. That line wasn't public in '88, she continued. The press only got the cleaned-up version, the mysterious diary angle. We kept the exact wording internal, but you know it, don't you? He swallowed, looked away. Dad talked, he muttered. He was all I had after Mom died. He didn't exactly censor himself. I knew everything, every theory, every dead end, every time this town told him to shut it down and move on. And when the locker came out of the hill? Maya said. It felt like the case was opening again. Not for the department. For you. He paced a few steps, hands shoved deep in his pockets. The wind flattened his jacket against his frame. He was silent long enough for a gull's cry to slice through the air. You know what it's like growing up with a ghost in the house? He asked finally. My dad kept a box in his closet. Westbrook. That's all it said. I wasn't supposed to look, but I did. Photos, clippings, copies of her diary from before they lost track of it. He'd sit up at night, going over the same theories, like if he stared hard enough the pages would give up a new clue. The man with the matches, the choir teacher, the car in the water, the note in the back seat. He couldn't let it go because no one else wanted to hold it. Maya listened, memorized, connections clicking into place. So when you saw the locker, she said, you knew who it belonged to before anyone opened it. Yeah, he said quietly. I knew. The size, the placement, the area. Dad walked me out here once when I was 16. Stood right where you're standing. He said, if she's anywhere, she's under our feet. He was right. You wrote in her diary, she said. No accusation in her tone, just gravity. He froze. You saw it before the team got here, she went on. It was open, wrapped in that tarp. You recognized the handwriting. The ink. The way she drew the lighthouse in the margins. You picked it up, and you added something that hadn't been there. He shook his head. Too fast. That's not... She wasn't alone that night, Maya said, cutting him off. You wrote it with the same pen you use out here. Same pressure, same slant. We pulled latent prints from the cover. Mixed partials degraded, but one pattern repeats on the edges. We're working on a match. You don't have my prints, he said, but his voice wasn't steady anymore. We have your employment file, she replied. Background checks, fingerprints. This is a small town, David. It's not that hard. He stared past her, toward the water, like the answer might crawl up out of the waves. I didn't kill her, he said. I didn't say you did. I didn't touch her diary back then. His eyes flickered to the tower, that dead lighthouse that had watched everything and said nothing. But my father did. For years. It was all he had left of her. That and his guilt. Guilt for what? For not stopping it. A truck door slammed in the distance. A worker shouted something about cables. The world moved. The two of them stood still. My dad went to Oregon, David said, words spilling now, like something had cracked. You know that, right? It's in your notes. He tracked down Dunn, the mechanic, the one who loved fire. He drove hundreds of miles on his own time, without the department's blessing, because he was sure Dunn knew more than he ever said back in '88. Maya had read the travel receipts, the handwritten motel addresses, the cryptic interview unproductive note in the corner of one report. Now it had a voice behind it. He came back different, David continued. Quiet, mean sometimes. He said Dunn was scared of something, not someone. Said the man couldn't stop shaking when they talked, that he kept asking if the other one had ever been arrested. Dad asked who he meant. Dunn wouldn't say, just kept muttering about the lighthouse, about a deal, about a promise gone wrong. Other one, Maya echoed. Lewis. Maybe, David said. Maybe someone else. This town had more secrets than pews. Dad always said there were too many adults who liked being around kids after dark. Did your father ever say he suspected Lewis? He suspected everyone, David replied. But Lewis was respected, churchman, choir director, trusted figure of the community. You know the type. When Dad mentioned him as a person of interest, the chief told him to drop it. Said you don't torch reputations based on gut feelings. So the file sat, and Anna stayed missing. And my father slowly started to rot from the inside out. Maya pictured the older Mercer at his kitchen table, under a single yellow bulb, surrounded by photos and copies and ghosts. After he died, David said, I went through his things, found the original evidence box, the diary copy, his notes, the Westbrook folder. He'd written one sentence on the inside of the lid. He hesitated. What sentence? They all know, but they won't say it out loud. Wind slapped the cliff. I brought the box to the station, David said. Anonymous. I thought, maybe someone new would do what he couldn't. And when the locker came out of the hill? Maya asked. He laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. You ever feel like the universe is playing along? Like it's in on the obsession? He shook his head. I saw that diary. I picked it up. I recognized her handwriting from my father's copies. I saw the last line he'd spent years trying to interpret. He said the fire will fix everything. And I thought, he trailed off. You thought? I thought the story was still being told. That it wasn't enough to just name a dead mechanic and a dead teacher and call it justice. That people needed to know she wasn't alone. That there were more than 2 monsters in this town. So I wrote it. 4 words. A stupid, desperate thing. She wasn't alone that night. Because she wasn't, he whispered. Dunn, Lewis, the deal, the fire. My father said it over and over. They didn't work alone. Somebody moved that car. Somebody wrote that note in the back seat. Somebody kept this place quiet for almost 40 years. You think that happens without help? She stared at him. The confession wasn't a crime, not exactly. Tampering with evidence, yes. But what he'd really done was bleed his father's obsession onto the page of a dead girl's diary, turned her last words into a chorus. "You realize what you did?" Maya said. "You compromised the only pure artifact she had left. You turned it into a message board for everybody else's guilt." His face crumpled for a moment, then hardened. "You think her story was pure before? You think this place didn't twist it the second she went missing? Runaway. Bad girl. Backseat type. She deserved better. My dad tried to give her that. Now he's gone. Dunn's gone. Lewis is gone. The only ones left are the people who benefited from their silence. People like who?" He held her gaze. Too long, too steady. "You're the detective," he said at last. "You tell me." She stepped back. The lighthouse loomed above them, paint peeling, metal door rusted shut. Somewhere beneath their feet lay a patched-over wound where a locker had sat for almost 4 decades, full of bones and ink and secrets. "Did you talk to Lewis?" Maya asked suddenly. "Before he died?" David's jaw flexed. "He killed himself the same night I pulled his name from the diary margins," she said. "That's a hell of a coincidence." "Coincidences are just patterns we don't like," he replied quietly. "I saw his name on your warrant board at City Hall. Word travels. Maybe he heard too. This is a small town. People talk. Maybe he saw the headline about the locker and realized whatever deal he made in 1988 just expired. And you? I fixed a railing, he said. I did my job. The rest isn't my department. But she could see the truth in his eyes. He had gone to Lewis's house. Maybe just to look. Maybe to talk. Maybe to stand on the porch and let the man see the ghost of Alan Mercer staring back at him in younger skin. Maybe that was all it took to push a guilt-ridden choir director toward a gun. As she turned to go, David called after her. "Detective." She paused. "If you're smart," he said, "you'll stop where the story looks clean. Mechanic, teacher, crazy old cop. Everyone loves that version. It's neat. It's tragic. It sells. What's under it?" He gestured broadly, toward the town, the church steeple in the distance, the tidy rows of houses. "What's under it doesn't want to be found." She met his gaze one last time. "Lucky for you," she said. "I don't like neat stories." The drive back felt shorter, the kind of short that comes from adrenaline erasing distance. At the station, she went straight to the board. She pulled a red marker from her pocket and added a new line, connecting David Mercer to the center. Not as a suspect. Not yet. As something else. A messenger, a vandal, an heir to obsession. Then she circled a blank corner of the board. No photo, no name, just a question mark. Someone moved the car in 1988. Someone wrote the note in the back seat. Someone told Dunn to be quiet. Someone protected Lewis. Someone made sure this town could sleep. The case file said cold case solved. The headline said victim's diary leads detectives to killer. The state would be satisfied with that. The mayor already was. But as the sun went down and the station lights hummed on, Detective Maya Ruiz stared at that empty space on the board and felt the temperature rise. Because this wasn't a cold case anymore. Whatever was left of it was very much alive, and it knew she was coming. The board glowed in the half-dark, pins and string and faces staring back at her like a jury that never went home. The station had emptied hours ago. Phones silent, desks abandoned. Just the hum of old fluorescent lights and the faint buzz of the vending machine down the hall. In the middle of it all, Anna Westbrook watched her. 17 forever, teeth a little crooked, hair pulled back, eyes holding something no camera could explain. Around her the web had thickened. Michael Dunn, mechanic, dead. Daniel Lewis, choir teacher, dead. Alan Mercer, original detective, dead. David Mercer, alive, but tangled in someone else's ghosts. And in the corner, a question mark. No name, no face. Just a hole in the story where something ugly lived. The door opened behind her. heavy footsteps. She didn't have to turn to know who it was. "Long day, Ruiz?" The voice of Chief Haldeman cut through the quiet. 60s. Thick neck. Tie loosened. A man who'd spent decades learning how to sound reasonable while burial shoveling truth. "Long case," Maya replied. He came up beside her, hands in his pockets, eyes on the board. "You've been busy." "I'm working the cold case the department asked me to work." "We asked you to confirm what forensics already gave us," he said calmly. "Dunn, Lewis, the diary. California 1988, cold case solved. Ring any bells? It's been good for this town, good for the department. Mayor's still smiling in every interview." She didn't look away from Anna's photo. The last line in her diary wasn't hers. Someone added it. "We've got fresh DNA. We've got a son tampering with evidence. We've got a teacher who killed himself the second his name resurfaced." That doesn't sound like a solved case to me, Chief. That sounds like a cover. Haldeman exhaled loudly, like she was a stubborn kid. "You're chasing ghosts. The suspects are dead. The mother has a body to bury. The state's closed its books. You want to start ripping stitches out of old wounds because a handwriting analysis didn't match? I want to know who else was there the night she died. What does it matter if they're gone?" The question was soft, tired, dangerous. "It matters to her," Maya said. "It matters to the next girl whose story someone tries to fix with a fire. You hired me to clean up this case, Chief, not to decorate a lie." His gaze hardened, just for a second. The kind of hardness that doesn't come from exhaustion, but from years of deciding what people should and shouldn't know. "Careful, Ruiz," he said quietly. "Sometimes the truth does more damage than the lie." "Then maybe the lie was built wrong." He shook his head, forced a chuckle. "You LA types, always looking for a conspiracy. This is a small town. People got old. People messed up. People died. That's not a conspiracy. It's life." "And yet," she murmured, gesturing to the board, "life keeps circling this girl and ending up at the same lighthouse." He didn't answer. Didn't have to. His silence said enough. "I'm rerunning the car note," she said. "The one found in the back seat. Forgive me, it wasn't supposed to end like this." "If your version of the story is true, that note's from Dunn. But the tests back then were weak. We can do better now." "You're wasting lab time." "Then file the complaint." Their eyes met. The distance between them might as well have been the whole Pacific. "You've got 48 hours," Haldeman said finally. "Then I want this board cleared. We don't have the budget to chase your instincts indefinitely." He walked away. The station door closed with a dull thud. Maya stood there for a long moment, listening to the empty building breathe. Then she picked up her phone and called the lab. "Grant, it's me. Pull the original car note. Scan the hell out of it. Front, back, edges. I want pressure marks, indentations, anything that might have bled through from another page. And run every possible print lift. I don't care if it's partial. Compare it to everyone we've got. Dunn, Lewis, Mercer, David. On it," he said. "You expecting a miracle?" "I'm expecting someone to have been sloppy," she replied. "And I'm praying that for once it wasn't us." When she finally left the station, it was past midnight. The town slept behind drawn curtains and porch lights left on out of habit more than fear. She didn't go home. Her car took her somewhere else. Evelyn opened the door before she knocked. "You look like you haven't slept in a week," the older woman said. "No hello. No pretense." "I could say the same," Maya answered. The house felt different this time. Less like a shrine, more like a patient waiting for a diagnosis. On the kitchen table, the photo of Anna sat in a simple frame, a small candle burning beside it. "You found something," Evelyn said. "I found a lot of somethings," Maya replied. "I'm just not sure yet what they add up to." She took out a copy of the choir photo from Lewis's notebook, placed it on the table. Anna in her robe, choir standing around her, Lewis's hand on her shoulder. "You ever see this?" Evelyn's fingers hovered over the image. "That's the winter concert," she said. "She came home that night with her hair smelling like incense and smoke. Said the church put candles on the windowsills for atmosphere. I told her it was a fire hazard. She laughed. Did she ever talk about Lewis? A little. Said he pushed them hard, wanted perfection, touched their shoulders when they sang off-key, held the high notes too long even when their throats hurt. Evelyn's voice thinned. You think he hurt her? I think he was there when hurt found her, Maya said carefully. But I don't think he was alone. I think some men liked the dark more than the song. Evelyn's eyes glistened. She came home one night in June, she said. Late, past curfew, clothes smelling like smoke and something else. She didn't eat, locked herself in her room. I heard her crying. When I knocked, she said she was fine. Just a bad rehearsal, Mom. 2 days later, she asked me if I believed hell was real. And what did you say? I said hell is what you make on earth. Evelyn's laugh was bitter. She didn't think that was funny. Maya swallowed. Do you still have any of her old things? Before the last diary? Letters? School notebooks? Church programs? Evelyn stood slowly, went to a hallway closet, and pulled down a shoebox. Inside were folded notes, ticket stubs, scraps of teenage life. On top, a torn piece of composition paper. Anna's handwriting. Younger. Rounder. Youth lock-in. Friday night. Maya read aloud. Games, worship, bonfire, sunrise service at the lighthouse. Her pulse kicked. Lighthouse? Evelyn nodded. Church used to do those overnight events. Kids would sleep at the hall, then walk at dawn. Said it was symbolic. New light, new start. I never liked the idea of my daughter wandering around cliffs at sunrise, half asleep, but everyone told me not to be dramatic. We're watching them, Mrs. Westbrook. We're responsible adults. Responsible adults. Do you remember what year this was? 87. Maybe early 88, before she started working the late shift at the diner. She was so excited. New songs, new friends, a youth group version of heaven. Maya flipped the paper over. On the back, in smaller writing, Anna had scribbled, Ask Mom if I can skip. Don't want to be near him. The him wasn't named. But under it, faintly, as if she'd tried to erase it, a single initial remained. L. Lewis, or something else. Why didn't the police see this back then? Maya muttered. They took one diary and some photos, Evelyn said. That's it. The rest stayed here. With me. I thought if I held on to it, she'd have somewhere to come back to. Maya closed the box, her brain humming. Evelyn, she said softly. If I told you this might go higher than a mechanic and a choir teacher, if I told you there might be someone else, someone this town still protects, would you want me to stop? The older woman's jaw clenched. I've already buried my daughter in pieces. There's nothing else they can take from me. If there's another name, I want it. Maya nodded once. Then I keep going. She left with the flyer, the scent of lemon cleaner and grief clinging to her clothes. Driving to the church, the roads felt narrower. The town felt like it was listening. The church sat at the top of a gentle hill, white paint and stained glass glowing faint under the morning sky. The sign out front read, Elwood Community Chapel, a place of light. She parked, walked up the steps, and knocked on the side door. An older woman in a cardigan, keys jangling at her waist, opened it. Office hours don't start till 9, she said. Detective Ruiz, Elwood PD? Maya replied, showing her badge. I need to see your records. The woman's face shifted. Church ladies recognized trouble the way dogs recognized storms. Records? Attendance logs, youth events, choir rosters, anything from 1987 and 1988. That's a lot of paper, Detective. Then we'd better start early. Her name was Marjorie Clark, secretary for 30 years, keeper of schedules, prayer lists, and, whether she liked it or not, evidence. She led Maya down a carpeted hallway that smelled of coffee, dust, and old varnish. In here, Marjorie said, unlocking a door marked Archives. Filing cabinets lined the walls, binders stacked to the ceiling, flyers for long-forgotten bake sales and mission trips yellowed under the weak light. We don't usually let outsiders rummage through these, she said. Good thing I'm not here for rummaging. Maya replied. I'm here for a murder investigation. The word landed heavy. Marjorie's lips pressed tight. For an hour they combed through binders. Names, dates, check-in sheets for youth lock-ins, donor lists. And then, halfway through a blue binder marked Youth Ministry 1988, Maya saw it. Sunrise Worship Walk, July 15th, 1988, Lighthouse Cliff. Her heart stuttered. July 15th, the day after Anna vanished. Beneath the title, sponsors, D. Lewis, M. Dunn, E. Klein. The name hit her like a wave. Who's E. Klein? She asked. Marjorie hesitated. Elliot. He used to be on the church council. Businessman. Big donor. Liked to invest in the youth, he'd say. Moved away years ago. Moved where? I don't know. Somewhere inland. Fresno, Sacramento. People lose touch. Maya flipped more pages. Klein's name kept appearing. Youth retreats. Building renovations. An anonymous fund for at-risk teens. A note thanking him for providing access to the lighthouse property for special services. Her mouth went dry. The lighthouse belongs to the city, she said slowly. Technically, yes, Marjorie replied. But Mr. Klein had arrangements, permissions. He liked exclusive spaces. Said it made the kids feel special. Her voice wavered on that last word. Special. When you heard about Anna's disappearance, Maya asked, did anyone mention this walk? No, Marjorie said quickly. It was cancelled after the news broke. Too much panic. Parents pulled their kids from everything for a while. Things quieted down eventually. Cancelled on paper, Maya said. But who showed up anyway? Marjorie swallowed, adjusted her cardigan. A nervous tick. I just typed the schedules, detective. I didn't walk the cliffs. She was lying. Maya could feel it. But pressing harder here would only make her shut down. On her way out, someone else stopped her. A woman in her 40s setting up hymnals, hair pulled back, eyes sharp with the kind of memory that doesn't fade. Excuse me, she said. You're the detective, right? About Anna? Yes, I sang with her, the woman said. Back then. My name's Rachel Wood. I was a junior. She was a senior. I heard you were asking about the choir. I'm asking about this night everything fell apart, Maya said. Rachel's fingers tightened around a hymnal. We had a lock-in the week before she disappeared, she said. Lewis led it. Dunn was there. So was Mr. Klein. What was he doing there? Chaperoning, Rachel said, with a tiny, bitter twist to her mouth. He brought snacks, told jokes, took photos with that stupid Polaroid. You know the type. Cool uncle energy in public. Too close in private. I thought it was just me being paranoid, until I saw him touch Anna's hair during the bonfire. The air thickened. Did she say anything? Later, Rachel said. She cornered me in the bathroom. Said she wasn't going on the sunrise walk. Said she was done with their games. Said if they pushed her, she'd tell every parent in town exactly what youth ministry meant at that lighthouse. And after that, 2 days later she was gone. Maya's head buzzed. The pattern was no longer just suggestion. It was architecture. Why didn't you tell the police this in 88? Because nobody asked. Rachel shot back. Because when you're 17 and you tell a cop a church leader made you uncomfortable, they tell you to watch your tone. Because my parents said if I kept making up stories, we'd lose our standing here. And because the man in charge of youth outreach, she added quietly, was also on the town council and the board of education. Klein, Maya said. Rachel nodded once. When he moved away, they threw him a goodbye potluck, called him a pillar of the community. The words echoed in her skull all the way back to the station. Pillar of the community, sponsor, lighthouse access, youth lock-ins. Back at her desk, her phone buzzed before she could sit. Grant, you're going to want to hear this, he said. We ran spectral imaging on the car note. You were right. There were impressions from another page on top of it. Took some work, but we reconstructed a few words. Hit me! Harbor Youth Outreach and sponsor approval. E. Klein. Different pen, different hand, but same paper stock. Looks like someone tore off the top sheet and wrote the note underneath. Or vice versa. Prints? One partial on the edge, he said. Not Dunn, not Lewis, not Mercer. But get this. It's a hit in the state database anyway. Same partial appears on a campaign flyer from 1992. Re-elect Councilman Elliot Klein, a safer future for our children. Silence, a hum so loud it rang in her ears. He broke it. So, not just a donor. Not just a donor, she repeated. She hung up, walked to the board, and wrote a new name under the question mark. Elliot Klein, red circle. Thick line from his name to the lighthouse. Another to the church. Another to the car at the bottom of the sea. The story was no longer about one man with matches or one teacher with a twisted idea of redemption. It was about the man who offered them space, cover, access, a place of light where the shadows never had to answer to anyone. By the time she left the station, the sky had gone dark again. Clouds rolled in heavy over the ocean. She drove home on instinct, mind still stuck to the board, to the names, to the flyer in Evelyn's shoebox. Her apartment door opened with a reluctant groan. She flicked on the light. Stopped. Someone had been inside. The chair she never used was pulled out from the table. Her notes, usually stacked in neat piles, had been nudged just out of place. Not ransacked, not dramatic. Touched. On the kitchen counter sat a small cardboard box. No label, no tape. Just folded closed, waiting. Every instinct screamed at her to back out, call it in, wait for a team. But another instinct, older, meaner, pushed her forward. She put on gloves, opened the box. Inside lay a single Polaroid, the lighthouse at night. No police tape, no trucks, no floodlights, just the tower, the cliff, and a small bonfire burning at its base. Silhouetted in front of the flames, 3 shapes, one tall, one medium, one small. On the back of the photo, in handwriting as familiar now as her own, a message. Some fires never go out, no signature. But at the bottom, almost like an afterthought, a date was written. 7/14/98, the night Anna disappeared. Something in the case had stopped being history. It was watching her now. The photo wouldn't leave her head. The shapes, the fire. The impossible date burned into the bottom like a curse. She'd stared at it so long that the room around her seemed to fade, leaving only that frozen moment. 3 shadows standing in front of the lighthouse, the night of July 14th, 1988, the night Anna Westbrook vanished. Detective Maya Ruiz stood perfectly still in her apartment. The city's sodium lights poured through the blinds, striping her face in gold and grey. She could hear her own heartbeat, the low hiss of the ocean several blocks away, and something else. The quiet realization that she was now part of the story she'd been chasing. The photo had been left inside her apartment. No break-in signs, no fingerprints on the box. Whoever did it had keys or skill. And confidence. Her phone buzzed in her hand. Grant. She answered on the first ring. "I was about to call you," he said. "You okay? You sound weird." "Someone's been in my place," she said flatly. "They left me a gift." "Jesus, what kind of gift?" "A Polaroid, lighthouse, bonfire, 3 figures. Dated the night she disappeared. Could be a fake. Could be, but the edges are aged, the colors oxidized. It's from the same film batch we found near the site in 1988. Same type of camera." "Then we've got a problem," Grant said, "because only one person was known to own that exact model. Michael Dunn." "He's been dead for 11 years, Maya replied. "Exactly." The silence that followed was heavy, brittle. Maya glanced at the photo again. "Get me the forensics van," she said, "and a team on my building. No one comes or goes until we sweep everything." "Copy that." She hung up and began scanning the rest of her apartment. Nothing missing, nothing broken, just small displacements. The drawer she never opened slightly ajar. The corner of a rug lifted. Her notes shifted by inches, like someone wanted her to know they'd been there. Not to take, not to threaten, to announce. Whoever left that photo wanted her attention. The team arrived 20 minutes later. By then, she'd poured herself a cup of coffee she couldn't taste and set the photo in a clear evidence sleeve. The techs dusted surfaces, checked locks, swabbed the box for residue. One of them, a young officer, looked at her nervously. "Detective, you think this is connected to the cold case?" "I think the cold case isn't cold," she said. When they left, she didn't. She sat at the table, staring at the fire in the photo, and replayed every word she'd heard in the past 48 hours. David Mercer's warning. What's under it doesn't want to be found. Rachel Wood's whisper. He touched her hair. And the chief's voice, calm and dangerous. Sometimes the truth does more damage than the lie. She opened her laptop and started digging. Elliot Klein, city councilman, 1982. Resigned abruptly citing health reasons. Married once, divorced in 1991. No children. Real estate and philanthropy. Donor to several youth programs across California. No criminal record. But between the lines, relocations, property sales, sealed settlements. In 1992, Klein transferred ownership of several coastal properties to a holding company called EK Development Group. The same company had recently purchased land just outside Elwood, including the stretch of cliffs that bordered the Lighthouse Road. It wasn't just history he was hiding. He was still here. Maya felt something twist in her gut. She picked up the phone again and called Grant. "I need an address for Elliot Klein. Current. Don't tell the chief." "Why not?" "Because I like my job, and because I like breathing." It took him half an hour. "Klein owns a property near Montero Ridge," Grant said. "Big house, private, registered under a subsidiary, but tax records match his signature. Send it." When the pin dropped on her map, it wasn't far. An hour north, just inland from the coast, a place where fog and money go to hide together. She was halfway there before she realized she hadn't told anyone she was leaving. The road to Montero Ridge wound like a scar through cypress trees. The further she drove, the thicker the fog became, swallowing the world in grey silence. By the time she reached the gate, daylight had faded completely. A wrought iron sign read, "Private estate. Trespassers will be prosecuted." Maya killed the engine. The house sat beyond the gate, lights low, a long driveway curving between hedges. Wealth, isolation, control. The same elements she'd seen in 100 predator profiles. She tried the intercom. A voice crackled. Male, older. "Yes? Detective Ruiz, Elwood PD. I'd like a word with Mr. Klein." A pause. "I'm sorry, Mr. Klein doesn't receive visitors." "He'll want to receive this one," she said. "It's about Anna Westbrook." The line went dead. Then, with a low, mechanical groan, the gates began to open. Maya's hand brushed the holster at her hip as she drove through. The driveway ended at a mansion that looked like it had grown out of the rock itself. Modern angles, cold glass, the Pacific roaring unseen behind it. The front door opened before she reached it. Elliot Klein stood there, late 70s now, tall, lean, perfectly composed. His white hair slicked back, his face all polite interest. He looked like every photograph she'd seen from the archives, just older, thinner, meaner around the eyes. "Detective," he said smoothly. "I was wondering when you'd come knocking." "You people always do, eventually." She showed her badge. "I have some questions about your involvement with Elwood Community Chapel in 1988. He smiled faintly. "We're digging deep tonight. You were listed as a sponsor for a youth program the week Anna Westbrook disappeared. Your signature appears on the event permits. You had authorized access to the lighthouse property." "Hardly a crime," he said. "I believed in giving young people hope. Not many others did." "Hope," she repeated. "Is that what you called it?" He motioned toward the open doorway. "Would you prefer to ask your questions inside, Detective? You'll find it's less theatrical than interrogating me on the porch." Every instinct screamed no, but she stepped in anyway. The interior was a museum of money. Polished floors, art that looked expensive because it didn't have to make sense. A wall of windows faced the ocean, glass blackened by night. "Drink?" he offered. "I'm on duty." He poured one for himself, neat, amber liquid catching the light. "So, Anna Westbrook. That name's haunted this county for decades. Poor girl. You knew her. Everyone knew her. Sweet voice, sad eyes, always writing in that little book." Her pulse jumped. "You saw her diary." He smiled over his glass. "It's a small town, Detective. You'd be amazed how easily private things stop being private." She stepped closer. "Did you see her the night she disappeared?" "Not that I recall." "Not that you recall," she repeated. "Or not that you want to admit." He chuckled, low and dry. "You sound like Alan Mercer. He came here once too, you know. 1990, I think. Same questions, same suspicion. He even brought a warrant. I let him look around. He found nothing. But he left me with a very distinct impression of obsession. You should be careful not to catch it." Mercer believed Anna was killed near the lighthouse, that she was lured there. Your church event gave you access. Your donation gave you cover. You had both the means and the motive. And what motive would that be? "You were about to lose control," she said. "She threatened to expose you. Rachel Wood remembers. She said Anna wanted to tell the parents what really happened at those bonfires." Something flickered behind his eyes. Quick, sharp, gone in an instant. "Teenage gossip," he said. "It destroyed more reputations than facts ever did." "Funny," she said, "because the facts are catching up. Your fingerprints appeared on a note found in her car. You remember it, don't you? Forgive me. It wasn't supposed to end like this. You wrote it, didn't you?" He set the glass down slowly. The sound was soft but final, like a closing door. "You should leave, Detective," he said quietly. "You think I scare that easily?" "I think you underestimate how much this town owes me," he said, turning to face her fully. "Elwood exists because I kept it clean. The mayor's father, the chief, the donors, all of them sat at my table, and all of them agreed that some things are better left in the dark." She took a step closer. "You buried a girl in that dark." He didn't deny it, not outright, just stared at her with that thin, unbroken calm. "Alan Mercer came here," he said again, "and he left believing the same thing you do. He died chasing ghosts that were already buried. You might want to read his file more carefully. You'll find he wasn't the hero everyone made him out to be." "What's that supposed to mean?" Klein smiled faintly. "He had his own reasons to keep that diary locked away. Ask his son. He'll tell you." "David?" A shrug. "Children inherit more than their parents' names. Sometimes they inherit the mess, too." Maya's skin prickled. "You're deflecting." "I'm warning you," he said softly. "This story doesn't end the way you think. It's not about me, or the teacher, or the mechanic. It's about everyone who watched and stayed quiet. And if you pull too hard, Detective, you'll find your own department tangled in the same thread." He stepped closer, the faint smell of whiskey and cologne filling the air. "Go home. File your report. Let the dead rest." She held his gaze. "You sound nervous." "Nervous men hide," he said. "I'm standing right here." Maya glanced toward a nearby bookshelf. Something glinted between the leather spines. An old frame, its silver tarnished. She moved closer. The photo inside showed a group of men at a charity gala, smiling in suits. Klein, Lewis, Dunn. And beside them, Chief Haldeman, 20 years younger. The air went thin. He saw her looking and smiled. "Like I said, Detective, everyone sat at my table." She didn't say another word. She turned, walked to the door, and left without asking permission. Outside, the fog swallowed her whole. The gate closed behind her like the end of a chapter written in steel. In the car, her hands shook as she dialed Grant. "Record everything," she said. "Pull files on Haldeman, campaign donations, anything linked to Klein. And I want Mercer's full personnel record, every disciplinary note. Vrspa. Off-book trip." "Did he talk?" Grant asked. "Oh, he talked," she said. "He just doesn't know he confessed." As she drove back toward Elwood, the ocean whispered beside her, the same rhythm, the same hiss that had been there the night Anna disappeared. She couldn't shake the image of that Polaroid on her table. The 3 figures by the fire. 1 tall, 1 medium, 1 small. Klein, Lewis, Dunn, or maybe Klein, Lewis, Anna. If she was alive when that picture was taken, it changed everything, and if someone wanted her to see it, it meant the case wasn't finished. It meant the fire was still burning. By the time the sun crawled up over Elwood, she was back under fluorescent lights, not having slept at all. The lab hummed with machines and tired people, the kind of place where time blurred and everything smelled like coffee and chemicals. On the metal table between them, the Polaroid sat under glass, its glossy surface turned into evidence. Grant pointed to the monitor. "We ran high-res scans, spectral passes, the whole menu," he said. "It's not a fake. Film grain, chemical degradation, oxidation patterns, all consistent with late 80s stock. Same type as the ruined roll we pulled from the lighthouse site in '88. "So it could be from the same camera," Maya said. "It almost has to be," he replied. "We even found microscopic salt crystals embedded at the edge. This thing's been near the ocean a long time, not in someone's desk drawer." The image filled the screen. Lighthouse to the left, jagged cliff edge, the small blaze at the base. 3 figures in front of the fire, turned to shadow by the flare. On paper, they were just silhouettes. But under enhancement, little details crawled out of the dark. "Watch this," Grant said. He tapped a key. The screen zoomed in, contrast adjusted. The tallest figure, broad-shouldered, stance wide. The one to the right. Leaner, posture slightly hunched. The smallest one in the middle. "Look at the arms," Maya said quietly. The middle shape's shoulders were tight, not relaxed. The arms were not hanging free, but drawn in awkwardly, like they were pinned behind the back. "You see it?" she asked. Grant nodded. "We marked joint points, limb angles. This person is either holding something behind them or their hands are restrained." Her stomach tightened. "Enhance the ground, just below their feet." He did. The pixels shifted, sharpened, bled. A faint streak appeared between the middle figure's legs. Dark, irregular. Could be shadow. Could be spilled something. "What do you think?" he asked. "I think she wasn't just standing there," Maya said. "She was being displayed." The date on the bottom of the photo stared up at her. 07/14/1988. The night Anna disappeared. Maybe the last time she was ever seen alive. "Whoever took this," she said, "was close. Not on a cliff. Not spying from a distance. They were on the ground, almost at their level. The angle suggests a slight upward tilt." Grant agreed. "Low height. Polaroid at chest or shoulder level. Classic party shot framing. Except this wasn't a party, and someone's hands were probably tied. And then the photographer walked away with it," Maya murmured. "Kept it for 37 years. And last night, decided to share." Grant pulled up another set of readings. "We checked the box and your apartment. No usable prints. Whoever visited you wore gloves." "So they're careful," she said. "Careful and confident enough to stroll into a cop's place," he added. "That's either someone with a death wish or someone who knows you won't be allowed to touch them." The words landed. Heavy. True. "Any chance it was David?" she asked. "Mercer's kid." Grant shook his head. "His prints aren't on the box. Not on the photo. Nothing. If he left it, he did it cleaner than most burglars we see." He turned off the monitor. The room dimmed for a beat. "You're in the crosshairs now, Ruiz," he said. "You know that, right?" "I've been in the crosshairs since the day I reopened this file," she replied. "This just means they started aiming back." She left the lab and went straight to records. A clerk brought out a thick, worn folder marked Mercer. Allen. Personnel. It felt heavier than it should. Inside, commendations, training certifications, glowing performance reviews from the early years. The picture of a cop who did everything right. Then, slowly, the tone shifted. A note from 1989. Detective Mercer displays difficulty disengaging from case assignments after closure. 1990. Unauthorized follow-up interviews in the Westbrook matter. Reminded to respect departmental decisions. 1991. Unapproved travel to Oregon. Failure to log overtime. Counseling recommended. Paper cuts of a slow fall. Then a memo, stamped and underlined. Subject: